In today's video, I'm going to show you the steps I take to varnish my acrylic paintings. Let's get to it. So here is my painting before I apply the varnish. As you can see, the paint is quite flat. I like to use a gloss varnish because it gives a lovely shine and brings the colours back out. People get quite scared about how to varnish their paintings because after all the work you've put in, the last thing you want to do is ruin it. But I'm going to show you the process that I use to varnish my paintings, and it really is very easy once you get the nerve up to do it. So I'm going to use a Liquitex gloss varnish. I like the gloss finish, I like the way it looks, but you can get matte and satin too, it's personal preference. And I like to use a sponge brush. Use a clean plastic container to pour the varnish into. So I'm going to start off by brushing off any debris or dust off of my painting to begin with, because I don't want anything caught underneath the varnish, it would ruin it. And then I'm going to pour a good amount of my varnish into the plastic container and just dip. It's a 3-inch foam brush I'm using this time to give nice smooth strokes. As you see, I'm starting at the top and I'm applying it quite roughly first, and then I'll go over and smooth it and then move down to the next section. I want to stay off each section as much as possible, so I apply the varnish, give it a smooth over, and then I'm on to the next section, because once the gloss starts to dry, that's when you don't want to be brushing over it anymore, because that's when you start getting very streaky and murky. It's all like milky look to it. You also need to make sure that your painting is completely dry before you do start varnishing, because if it's not, again, you'll get quite a murky, misty look to your varnish, and that's not what you go for. As this is gallery wrapped and it won't be put in a frame, I'm also making sure that I apply the varnish to all the edges and the sides as well. And this is literally all there is to the process. So I've just applied it in one direction, and now I'm going to leave it. You can see it's got a good coating. I'll move it around just to make sure I have coated everything I need to coat and I haven't missed anything. I must have missed something there that I noticed. But the varnish is still wet at this point. But even then I was going over it a bit more than I probably should have done. But being that it was wet, it wasn't going murky yet. You've got around about 4 minutes-ish until you really shouldn't be manipulating that varnish anymore. So there we go. So now that layer is finished, I'm going to leave it for at least 3 hours, preferably longer, to dry before I apply a second coat. Now that's dry, you can already see the gloss on this coat already. I do like to add another coat though. I always apply 2 layers of the varnish. That's personal preference to me. I think I like the look better. And so 2 or 3 coats is what I normally apply, but 2 is normally plenty. I find that if you leave it at just 1, it can sometimes still be a little bit streaky. You can still have some ridges, so I apply a second coat. Now my second coat, I'm applying in exactly the same way as I applied the first coat, but I like to go in the opposite direction to what I went the first time. For me, I find that it helps just fill in those ridges, any ridges that are in there. I like this varnish. I do find that it settles itself, so I haven't had too much of a problem with any streaks or ridges in my varnished finish. So same again, apply in one section, move on to the next, then on to the next, and then I use a smoothing motion just to make sure any streaks and any little bubbles or anything are gone. I haven't really found any problems with this varnish having too many bubbles, as long as you're applying it in sort of thin-ish coats. And then again onto those sides, because we do want to make sure that the glossy finish is around the whole painting. As I said, it's gallery wrapped, so this doesn't need to be put in a frame. So that's it. Here we go. final coat has been applied. I'm just obviously seeing a few more little bits that I'd missed or aren't quite sitting as I want. And you can see it self-settling itself now in that little bit that was just shining. And there it is. This is the finished cat portrait with its finished varnish, and I think you'll agree that gloss varnish brings those colours out beautifully, a lot less muted and matte than it was at the very beginning, and that is ready to hang on the wall. If you have any varnishing hints, tips or tricks that you'd like to share, please feel free to pop them in the comment box below. But from now, that is it from me for this week.
Thank you all for watching. If you found this video useful, please leave me a thumbs up. I post new content every Thursday. If you don't want to miss anything, please press the subscribe button below. You can also press that bell icon. It makes sure that you get notified by YouTube for all new content I post. That's it from me now. Bye, guys.